In the frozen hell of the Chosin Reservoir, North Korea, December 1950, a lone figure crouched on a ridge, her breath fogging the scope of her M1903 Springfield rifle. Sergeant Evelyn Eve Harper, the only female sniper in the 1 Stone Marine Division, watched through the crosshairs as 480 of her brothers in arms stumbled into a trap below. Chinese forces, thousands of them, poured from the hills like a tidal wave of bayonets and bugles. The Marines were surrounded, cut off, and abandoned by command. Radio silence. No air support, no evacuation. They were left for dead. But Eve? She wasn't following orders tonight. If you're ready for a story of defiance, sacrifice, and one woman who rewrote history with a single shot, hit that subscribe button right now. Join the ranks, because this one's going to hit you in the soul. The Battle of Chosin Reservoir was already a nightmare, etched in blood and ice. Temperatures plunged to 30 below zero. Frostbite claimed fingers before bullets did. The 1 Stone Marine Division, tasked with punching through to the sea, had been promised relief that never came. Fox Company, 480 men strong, held a hill called Toktong Pass, the only escape route for the entire division. If Fox fell, 10,000 Marines would be slaughtered. Command knew it. They still issued the order, hold at all costs, then prepare for extraction. But as night fell on December 6th, the extraction never arrived. Radios crackled with static. Planes circled but couldn't land. The Chinese 79th Division swarmed the pass, wave after wave, screaming like banshees. Captain Barber, Fox Company's commander, bled from the thigh but refused the stretcher. "We ain't leaving," he growled. "Not one man." But by midnight, ammo was down to handfuls, mortars silent. Half the company lay frozen where they fell. Eve Harper wasn't supposed to be there. A sharpshooter from Tennessee, she'd enlisted under a false name in '44, cutting her hair and binding her chest to pass boot camp. The Marines didn't allow women in combat then, but Eve didn't care about rules. She'd dropped a Japanese officer at 800 yards on Okinawa, earned a Silver Star nobody could pin on her chest without exposing the lie. By Korea, the brass looked the other way. She was too good. Attached to HQ as a scout sniper, her real orders were simple: observe, report, do not engage. But watching Fox Company die from a ridge 600 yards away? That wasn't observation, that was murder. She saw it first through the scope, a Chinese machine gun nest, dug into the reverse slope, raking the Marine line with crisscross fire. Every time a Marine popped up to throw a grenade, he was cut down. The nest had to go. Eve's spotter, Corporal Ruiz, grabbed her arm. "Sarge, command said no engagement. We're here to mark targets for artillery that ain't coming." Eve's eyes never left the scope. "Then I guess I'm the artillery." She worked the bolt slow, the way her daddy taught her on squirrels back in the Smokies. One round in the chamber, one chance. The gunner's head filled her lens, smug, laughing, finger on the trigger. She exhaled, the rifle bucked, the laughter stopped. The nest fell silent. But one shot didn't win wars. The Chinese adjusted, sending a platoon to flank the ridge, straight toward Eve. Ruiz cursed in Spanish, yanking her down as bullets snapped overhead. "They know we're here." Eve rolled, chambered another round. Good, let 'em come. What followed was 20 minutes of hell. Eve and Ruiz 2 against 30. She fired from boulders, from snowdrifts, from the shadow of a burned-out truck. Each shot precise, mechanical, personal. A Chinese lieutenant raised a flare. Pop! His face lit red. Eve dropped him before the flare hit the ground. The platoon scattered, leaderless. But Ruiz took a round in the shoulder. Blood steamed on the snow. Eve dragged him behind a rock, tied his belt above the wound. "You leave me, I'm court-martialing your ass," he gasped. She laughed once. Sharp, bitter. "Not leaving anyone tonight." Down in the pass, the Marines heard the shots echoing from the ridge. Not the staccato of Chinese burp guns, these were single, deliberate cracks. American. Barber lifted his head, blood crusting his beard. "Who the hell's up there?" A runner crawled over. "Sniper, sir. 1 rifle, taking out their officers." Barber's eyes narrowed. "Then God just sent us a guardian angel with a scope." Eve's plan crystallized in the dark. She couldn't save them with bullets alone. She needed time. She needed the Chinese to look up instead of down. So she broke every rule in the book. She left Ruiz with the radio, crawled 200 yards through waist-deep snow to a frozen creek bed. There, she found what she was looking for, a Chinese field telephone line, strung between trees like Christmas lights. She cut it, spliced in her own handset stolen from a dead radioman. Then she did something insane. She spoke in Mandarin, learned from POW interrogations back on Okinawa. "Attention 79th Division," she said, voice calm as Sunday service. "Your commanding officer is dead. Your flank is exposed. Withdraw or be annihilated." She fired a flare into the sky, red Chinese signal for retreat. Then she waited. For 30 seconds, nothing. Then chaos. Bugles blew frantic retreat. Officers shouted conflicting orders. The human wave faltered, turned, began pulling back. Eve didn't wait to see if it stuck. She sprinted back to Ruiz, hauled him up. "We're going down the hill." Ruiz stared. Into the kill zone? Into the fight. They slid down the ridge on their backs, rifles clattering. Eve hit the Marine line like a ghost materializing from snow. A private swung his M1 toward her, froze. Jesus, it's a woman. Barbara limped over, stared at the blood on her parka, the scope still warm on her rifle. "You the shooter?" Eve nodded once. "Yes, sir. And we've got maybe 20 minutes before they figure out the retreat was a lie." Barbara didn't ask how. He just pointed. "Machine gun pits." "Empty. You want it?" Eve was already moving. What happened next became legend whispered in barracks for decades. Eve manned the captured Type 92, belt-fed Fury spitting fire into the darkness. Marines rallied around her like iron to a magnet. Ammo runners brought belts, wounded men loaded. Barbara directed fire with a broken arm. The Chinese regrouped, came again, but this time Fox Company wasn't broken, they were possessed. Eve's voice cut through the din, left flank, 200 yards, officer with the red scarf. "Drop him!" A bar gunner obeyed. The scarf fell. The attack crumbled. Dawn broke grey and merciless. The Chinese withdrew, leaving 1,800 dead in the snow. Fox Company counted 480 souls still breathing, 103 wounded but alive. Air support finally arrived, corsairs screaming overhead. The evacuation began. Eve carried Ruiz on her back to the chopper, his blood soaking her neck. A cameraman snapped the shot that would run in Life magazine, a slight figure in a torn parka, rifle slung, carrying a Marine twice her size through the snow. The caption read, "Angel of Toktong Pass." But the story doesn't end with medals. Eve refused the Bronze Star. They tried to give it to Sergeant E. Harper, pretending the E stood for Edward. She vanished from the records after the war. Some say she went home to Tennessee, married a mechanic, raised 3 boys who never knew their mother, once stopped an army with a lie and a rifle. Others swear she died in a VA hospital in '78, still listed as male, still clutching a faded photo of Fox Company. The Marines never forgot. Every year on December 6th, a single red flare is fired at Camp Lejeune. No explanation, just tradition. Eve Harper broke protocol, broke the rules, broke the enemy. She saved 480 men who were ordered to die, and in doing so saved 10,000 more. She wasn't supposed to be there. She wasn't supposed to speak. She wasn't supposed to win. But the mountain heard her shot. The snow remembers her name. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, from which part of the country are you watching this video? East Coast, West Coast, down south, up north. Let me know where the story hit you. Your comments fuel these videos, so don't hold back. And if Eve's Defiance lit a fire in you, smash that like button, share this with a veteran, and subscribe for more stories of the forgotten warriors who changed history. Semper Fi.